Good afternoon to everyone. It's a great privilege to be here today with Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar in the India Sustainability Lounge at Davos to talk about and get the advice and guidance of Gurudev on lifestyle for the environment. As you all know, lifestyle for the environment as a concept and a program was launched by Prime Minister Modi, first announced at COP26 in Glasgow, and then formally launched along with the UN Secretary General in India on 20th October of 2022. It's a fascinating concept, but I wanted to hear more from Gurudev about how he sees lifestyle for the environment and what is his sort of practical advice on how we can walk the talk on lifestyle for the environment, which is in many ways the other side of the climate debate, where individuals and communities can actually take simple actions uh, to protect the planet in terms of climate, in terms of environment, and can actually make a difference. There's a lot of evidence, including a study by UNEP, that individuals can actually help to reduce emissions. We know the science is there, but again, from the art of living guru, we very much would like to hear from you, Gurudev, on how you see lifestyle for the environment and in terms of what is your practical guidance for all of us here and for the rest of the world on how this agenda of India can be taken globally.
The fact that we have to care for environment has to flash in the minds of people. And if people are stressed, so self-centered, or in crisis themselves, they don't care about anything. Less about the environment. They don't even care about themselves, their family. So first and foremost is make them sensitive to the issue. You see, on a long term, if we continue the way we are continuing, there is no future. There is no hope for the planet Earth to exist. So to be sensitive to the needs of the planet Earth, we have to be more conscious. And we can't expect the conscious behavior from someone who is so stressed or self-centered. That's where lifestyle change is very much essential. A healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit is absolutely essential for a sustained development. In fact, this is the building bricks of sustainability. Otherwise, people who are tensed or stressed or don't have that vision, they only think about short-term goals. They just want to see how they can manage at this moment and get away with it. So a long-term vision for the planet and for themselves has to be instilled. And that is where what our Prime Minister has said, the lifestyle change has to be there in order to have a sustained development. It's very, very relevant. Now, the Government of India, along with Art of Living, have launched Har Ghar Dhyan, making aware of people, another dimension in their life, wherein they can free themselves from stress and strain, tension, and start to perceive things better. Our perception has to change. And then our expression also had to improve. And India can lead in this. See, as I said, $2.7 trillion are being spent on mental health in the world. It's a huge amount. And $200 billion is spent in US alone on mental health. And here in Germany, 200 million hours are wasted because of lack of proper mental health. Human resources have to be developed, and for that, it's absolutely essential to look at the wellness aspect of development.
No, that's fascinating, Gurudev. We all know that traditionally in India, and you've been talking about this in all your in all your addresses, how traditionally and culturally, there's been people have traditionally been at one with nature, and they've traditionally protected the nature and taken actions to do that. Now, in the G20 agenda, India's the presidency
Mm.
is on at the moment, the overall theme is one earth, one family, one future. And the idea is that life and actions on life, walking the talk, should really permeate all the working groups and the discussions. So, with an India led movement like Life, and you mentioned how the Western world is spending a huge amount of money on mental health and so on. So, how can this sort of be scaled up globally? In India, it's moving ahead anyway, but globally, are there any suggestions in concrete terms which can be taken to draw people into this movement so that it can spread globally?
First of all, create awareness about it. Second is the green energy. We should focus on green energy, and India is doing very well on that now. Third aspect is, as I said, mental health and people becoming more sensitive to others' needs. A violence-free society alone can take us forward. If society is mass shootings, whether 600 mass shootings in USA, you sometimes wonder, are we a civilized society or gone back to barbaric age? You see, that is very important. Plus, there is a lot we can learn from the tribal culture of India. I've happened to. Have you been to any tribal village in India?
Yes,
So, we have schools, free schools in all the tribal, many states in India have tribal villages, schools we have there, free schools. One thing you see, there is no pollution in the tribal villages. They accustom themselves to the nature so much. You don't see plastics waste here and there lying around and unclean atmosphere. No, cleanliness is a part of these societies, and honoring nature. You see, world over, the tribal people or the First Nations people, as that they are called in America, um, they all have reverence to the five bhutas, the Panch-bhuta, the five elements. Reverence to earth, reverence to water, water sources to be attended, and then food. These are some things the world can benefit. For example, the millet here has been declared by India, and millet is such a good uh, nutritious food that world is looking for. We had jackfruit from so long in India. Today it has been declared as a superfood. You see,
wonderful.
the world. So some of those food items, like murunga, for example. Murunga is in Tamil Nadu, from where you come. Murungakai. It's a common thing. For example, our great grandmothers, our grandmothers used to have a set menu, you see, in which they have to have the spinach, and they had to have the greens, then the salad, and then the murungakai, and then there should be ghee. So when you scientifically examine that, it is astounding that it can arrest diabetes from clogging our system. So from health perspective also, there is a lot we can learn from the nutrition thing. Then Ayurveda. Ayurveda is something that is making waves in the world today. Recently, we got this NOC-19, an Ayurvedic formulation for COVID vaccine. It's recently in the Stanford in vitro study in the laboratory. They found it can stop the virus 100%. It inhibits the COVID-19 virus. Now they are going to go on the clinical trials. So there are so many things that Ayurveda can provide for the better health of the world. This one. Then tourism, of course, India has a huge range of tourism which India can welcome people from skiing in Gulmarg, and then in Kufri, in Himachal, to houseboats in Kerala. So we have a whole range of tourist interests that India can provide to the world. And my most favorite thing is yoga and meditation. Spirituality, yoga, and meditation was a taboo in the West when I started the movement. That's about in 42 years back. But today, I want to tell you 2.5 billion people around the world practice yoga. And yoga itself is about yoga and spirituality. In America alone is nearly, it's a billions of dollars industry. 27 billion was the figure a few years back. It must have grown now. I have not been in touch with it. But uh, people are for it because they take it. Similarly, vegan food or vegetarian food has become much more popular today. So, healthy lifestyle and broader vision, a context to life. And most interesting is last year's Nobel Prize for Physics went to someone who said the world is not real.
Incredible. So just
That's what
That is a Maya theory of
yeah, that's what Adi Shankara has been saying, and then the Vedanta philosophy is saying what you see is not real, what you don't see is real. And exactly that's what the physics is saying. The scientific appraisal of philosophy will also make a big difference to bring it to the world platform.
Sure. Just one last question before we move on. I was in a tribal village, as you mentioned, in Orissa, in Kionjar district, about a month ago. And exactly like you said, the simplicity of living, the food eaten, millet is a big program in Orissa. And so, again, it's a crop which is, it's got a small water footprint as well, very healthy. And therefore, like jackfruit or moringika, etc. Simple actions which we have been talking about in the life program, water conservation, not using plastic, switching off the electricity when you leave the room, walking upstairs if you're fit enough instead of taking the elevator. So these are all simple actions which people can
And
take.
fresh food, and not
And fresh
necessary
food.
to store them all in the
Exactly.
fridge and 3 days later
Exactly.
you throw them all.
Exactly. So fresh food as well. And therefore, one idea is that these nudges in behavior change, would lead to industry and producers and corporations in producing products which are environmental friendly, because there'll be a demand for it when people change their behavior.
Correct.
And then of course we'll have a supply response, but also then a policy response. So the idea is that life will move on all three fronts, but of course front and foremost is individuals acting towards the climate. So what is your sense in terms of how do you see corporations and industry responding to people demanding more environmentally sustainable products?
They must do it.
They have to do it.
See, let's be practical. You cannot immediately dispense away with the plastic, of course, but we must minimize it. That must be the first step. Second is reuse of substance, of plastic, reuse. And then there are many startups, many innovations that has happened, an alternate for plastic. The starch bags are being produced. Even temples like Tirupati and many other, they these days use this biodegradable plastic, this thing. Now, more permissions, more license should be given to, encouragement should be given to these sort of startups, which can slowly, replace plastic.
Thank you very much, Gurudev. Fabulous, very practical advice for everyone on how India can sort of lead life globally. I'd like to hand over to Rajendra to take the agenda forward.
Thank you, sir. Pranam Gurudev. We are honored to have you today's discussion. To take this dialogue and discourse forward, I'll just like to tell that our Indian culture and our values had many of those things, which today the world is talking about. So it is not that we have to do a rocket science to change our behavior. We have to unlearn certain things, perhaps, which we have learned in the last 2 3 decades, and relearn something which our forefathers or parents. So would you like to throw some light on these cultural dimensions? You have touched upon some of them, but how these cultural nuances can be brought again into this discourse of climate change, so bring that pride, so that there can be guard on the conspicuous consumption, irresponsible consumption, and people feel pride about their cultural practices.
First of all, you must own all the languages in the world.
Great.
Because you know what? English language has 70% Sanskrit in it. These people do not know. For example, the months that we say, February, then January, March, April, December, this is all in Sanskrit. And people do not know. If there is no meaning in English for December, November, September, October, tell me, does it mean anything? But it has a meaning in Sanskrit. September, seventh sky. October, eighth sky.
Ambar is a
Nava
sky.
Ambar. Ambar means what? Sky. Nava Ambar, ninth sky. Dashambar, 10th sky.
Wow.
So you must own the culture. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we have said. That means the whole world is one family. And so we do not even take pride or attend to these facts that is staring in front of us. We are not taking ownership of zero. Zero has been given, has been a contribution of philosophy, Indian philosophy, ancient philosophy. Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudashyate. Like that, there are many aspects when you realize that, hey, look, this is where we come from. This is from our roots. So that gives self, empowerment. One of the biggest challenges we have today is attaining low self-esteem. Thank God it's much better in this decade than when compared to a couple of decades ago. Our youths have to have that confidence, yes, we can do it. And when they have come up with this inner confidence, nothing is impossible. So the challenge that the world is posing today can be taken by the youth around the world. And for that, they have to honor their roots, their culture. And when they see that their culture is not just limited to some philosophy or regional, but it is universal, it makes you a universal person. Then you own everything in the world. You have a sense of belongingness with the whole world, to all the culture. You don't think, oh, English as a foreign language. No, it's part of your own language. Hasta, hand. You see all the parts of the body. It's all in Sanskrit. Whatever you say in English. But we never put our attention to that. Danta, dentistry.
Matra, mother.
Matra. Huh. And so many heart, hridaya. So we have to go to the roots. When the roots are strengthened, our vision becomes broader.
Great.
Today's youth need that self-esteem. Okay. Number two, that we can't say, oh, keep just singing the glory of the past. We have to see what is that you can do for the future.
That is true.
You need to balance your life between both the past and have a broader vision for the future. And our youth are capable of doing this. And the future is renewable energy.
Very nice. Just to take that thought forward, Gurudev, as you rightly pointed out, that we have to bring that pride back. But material economy drives on two fundamental principles. One is the product design obsolescence, and another is perceived obsolescence. You design a thing into such a manner that you have to dump it necessarily. Another is, you create a perceived obsolescence, that if you are not consuming this particular way, you are obsolete. And this is the feeling which the media is creating. And that is where, like, I come from Tamil Nadu cadre, and I worked a lot to eradicate plastics. And I could see that there was a tradition in Tamil Nadu of a manjal pai. Sir will appreciate that every person, when he used to walk out of the house, used to have an auspicious yellow color cloth bag in their hand.
Thela.
And this, which was perceived to be, very out of trend. And when we had a campaign, After some time, people brought that cultural dimension again, and they. So, what are your thoughts that how this youth can be, like you very rightly pointed out, but how this youth can be guided? What is your message for that? That they can become a responsible consumers, and that is the biggest challenge of behavior change, and that also life what speaks about is.
Yes, as I said, you need to be sensitive. Just it's just matter of creating these awareness. That well, see, carry your bag when you go for vegetable shopping or when you go for any shopping, and people have started doing it and using solar panels. It become you see the willingness is there, and people are the only enemy for our environmental protection is lack of awareness, and that can happen when people are drunk day and night. If they are consuming so much alcohol, they are not aware of anything, they are not aware of themselves, they are not aware of the family. Many states in India have this challenge. The man, and then it also is creating domestic violence issues.
Very
Their behavior is so different, and they come back home and they beat up in the night, they drunk and they beat up their women, and in the morning they ask pardon for her. The poor lady, she has no other, choice other than to pardon him in the morning. So this story goes on, and such people are those who do not follow any environmental rules. So as you rightly said, we have to get back to the roots, and yet we have
be
to
modern.
bring to them this awareness, creating the awareness. And many NGOs are doing this work. Let me acknowledge the great work that thousands of NGOs are involved in, and then religious groups. They're all doing it. It's a good, I see there is a big hope, change.
Uh, Gurudev, just taking this forward, today we find that we cannot do away with without technology. We are all the time surrounded by the digital space, and it is a two-sided weapon. It can be used in a good way also, and it has its own challenges, and it is a distraction also. So, what is your message for youth that for a sustainable lifestyle, for a environmentally inclined and a conscious behavior, how we can leverage technology and digital tools?
Technology, today you see the cell phone has reached almost every nook and corner of the planet. I usually say my competitor is cell phone, because I need to reach out to that many people to create the more awareness in them about happiness than people using cell phone. Technology need to be revisited again and again. And so if someone has come up with some new idea, and they cannot think that this will go on forever, they should know that this will be disrupted sooner or later, and so another technology will come. New innovations keep happening in the planet. As long as there is intelligence in mankind, technology cannot be stopped, and it will only go forward. Now, when a person has very narrow mindset, doesn't have compassion or empathy in him, then he can use technology for harming the society. You see, it's like you have a fan to keep you cool and warm, and if you are not in a good state of mind, you'll hang yourself with the fan. In Indian Institute of Science, they removed all the fan from the residential buildings to avoid, suicidal tendencies. I said, this is not an answer.
Fan was not responsible.
Fan is not responsible. But see, intelligent guys are committing this. In 1 month, 6 Indian Institute of Science students. It's something to get into that university, into that institute is something. It's a big struggle. Having gotten in there, And then people committing suicide, it shows that we have seriously lacked in attending the mental health of our society.
Gurudev, you are truly an ambassador of, while we are all working for GDP, but you are working for the gross happiness index in the country. And thanks for that. Uh, Gurudev, taking this conversation forward, you talked about millets and the food. I think we are in the grip of the modern medicine. While appreciating that modern medicine has done a tremendous help to have immunization, many good aspects, but at the same time, the reason where, as you pointed about the fan and the suicide, similarly, where the lifestyle diseases, where the nutritional habits and our lifestyle is a reason, but people are only getting to the modern medicine alone. So, in the context of Ayurveda, which considers as a food as the medicine and kitchen as the clinics, and the human being can doctor their own health. So from your experiences, what is the message that how this behavioral dimension, life also talks about the behavior change, and the biggest resistance is that people know, they are aware that this is healthy, there's a more nutritional value. Still children today, they will only like certain foods because there's a image of those foods is created bigger. So how we can get to a healthier food, and we can have healthier and happier society?
you know, uh, that which is healthy doesn't taste good, and that which tastes good are not so healthy. This has been the narrative for last several decades, but now it has changed. There are healthy and tasty food also. That's the innovation that Ayurveda has. The very first chapter in Ayurveda is called Swastha Vritta, Swastha, about health. And it talks about dinacharya and rutucharya, what you need to do seasonally and what you need to do on a daily basis. And according to your nature, whether it's vata, pitta, kapha, what is the best type of food that your system can can assimilate, and you feel better about it. So one should take an Ayurvedic nadi pariksha, get a checkup from the doctor and find out what is your type, and then they'll prescribe you what type of food is good for you. For example, if you are pitta type, they'll tell you don't fast more than 2 hours after sunrise. Then your pitta will go up, and then your behavior will be erotic. You see, if someone is vata imbalance, then they are very jittery. They don't have focus, attention. You know, these are the symptoms that they come. A kapha type, manana, they have this tendency to postpone things. So then what type of food these people should eat? This is all prescribed in Ayurveda. That's why Ayurveda is an invaluable science. Government of India is now trying to bring this goodness to other parts of the world. Unfortunately, the world has not yet accepted Ayurveda as one of the medical systems. So I feel that the world should not be deprived, the population of world should not be deprived of the goodness of Ayurveda. Whereas Chinese medicine is accepted. The insurance companies around the globe, they accept Chinese medicine, which is, I would say, is an offshoot of Ayurveda only. It's a boger who took the medicinal system, the Indian medical system from south, Siddha Vaidya, to China, and they accept it. They honored that. So we have to do this. Bring the goodness of Ayurveda. Then you will see you can have tasty food, good food, and create that awareness. See, if the attention deficiency is increasing not just among the kids, but even among the CEOs, CFOs, and even the workers in any setup. This is because of the impact of food. So proper food and a little bit of breathing exercise can help our planet have a better human resource.
Rajendra, why don't we open it up to the audience? I'm sure lots of people have questions. Yeah.
Yes,
I
sir.
have a question. Gurudev, you've been speaking so much about creating awareness. But if you were to just look at the aware section of society, so to speak, where is the action? How are we creating the awareness to action? Because I think that is the link that is still missing, because there's a lot of people who are sitting with that awareness. You know, countries included. Look at the 100 billion climate finance that we have. We haven't reached that metric yet. And there are various, parameters you can talk about. So, but how is it that you can talk of, putting that action into play so that that awareness really leads to a sustainable lifestyle with all the,
I would say they have knowledge, but they are not acting. It's one thing you have knowledge. Second thing is you have empathy. You have that compassion for the world, and you are caring for the planet Earth. That may be missing, you see. You may say, you may know this, yeah, necessary to have sustainable energy, but well, that's not mine. I will do what I need to do. And you can lecture others to have green energy, and you can continue to have your own fossil energy. So this is, I would say, this knowledge is there. But it's not translating into action because lack of that sense of belongingness with the planet. If you have a sense of belongingness, if you have ownership of the planet, like what we say, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, you can't but act.
how does one build that sense of belonging?
Stress free, violence free society can do that. When
Spiritually
we are
and plan.
stressed, when we are stressed, even we know we don't act on it.
So just a follow-on question to that. You talked about Gurudev, about mental health and its booming industry. What's your simple formula for abiding happiness? Very.
Why you want a simple formula for that?
Magic.
I don't want to come complex. I mean, I believe it's a simple process. I think it's becoming more complex to
You see,
navigate the
even when you
pathways.
go for dinner, you don't say, just give me only khichdi. That means you are sick, right? If you are healthy, what you'd say, I like little bit papadam, I'll have little salad, and you would like to go for. You want a complex diet when you want to eat, but you want very simple thing when it comes to the most important aspect of your life. I think that's not fair. Yet I tell you, it is simple. It's not that complex. We need to attend to teach people some yogic techniques like breathing, meditation, and we are doing this. We have been teaching this for last 42 years. In India, it's been part of the induction program for all engineers. AICT has made it part of all the colleges, engineering colleges. When the students come in, they have to do this, learn this. Number one, also medical colleges are taking, many medical colleges. In America, 108 universities are giving out programs for credit. Like right from Stanford, everywhere there is Sky Breath for Campus. If you see Times now last week, there is a happiness section in which they have said about just breathe, about Art of Living's work, how it has helped veterans, war veterans, and all that. So, if you can learn it for 3-4 days, then it's a do-it-yourself program. I call it a mental hygiene, like you have dental hygiene. Yeah.
I think we have a couple more.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for taking my question and also for your valuable words. My name is Khalil. I'm from Switzerland. And I'm the co-founder of Buy Food with Plastic. And we're also active in Bandup in Mumbai. And what we do is we enable people to purchase a warm meal with 20 plastic bottles. And now we want to build up a manufactory, but it is so hard to bring in money from Switzerland. Maybe it's also a question to the audience. Do you have any answer on how, or could you in any way support us with that?
Absolutely. Anything that you do, you want to do to care for environment, we are there for you.
I have a question. It's a very perturbing thought process for me. I am from Luxembourg, and half of the year I live in Ghana in an extremely remote village without electricity and internet. Luxembourg is the richest country of the world. They have the best healthcare. They have all the cars in the world,
I
everything.
know.
And in Ghana, there's no electricity, internet. Everyone is happy. And in Luxembourg, gosh, you know, they have even catered the mental health as one of the government subsidized program and everything. How can, like, it's something coming back to the tribal thing which you were speaking. There is so much of happiness. There is they don't even do yoga practices or breathing practices. There is not as much anything there, but there is so much of happiness. They will drink, and I don't see violence in that part of the society as well. There is women equality. There is no violence. People are happy. So just wanted to, how can we learn from this side to that side?
You have already said, this awareness itself, yeah, money alone cannot bring you happiness, cannot buy you happiness. That's something you have to cultivate, and everybody is bestowed with this. And we need to learn from everyone. They are rich in some other aspect. People of Ghana are rich in some aspect. Luxembourg, they may be rich in another aspect. So, as a world family, we need to exchange our views, our ideas, and our lifestyles.
I have a question. You talked about depression, mental health, and empathy. In a daily life, as individuals, how can we uh, make that choice between instant gratification and long-term happiness? How do we implement that in our action?
It is not an impossible feat to do. When you want to do it, you can simply do it. And there are tools and there are methods that has been available for you, today. It's all there.
Which is it possible to develop empathy and compassion if one does not meditate?
If you are if you are with the nature, as he said, like in Ghana, they have their culture, they have dance, they have faith, they have belief. Then they have a different spiritual flavor to their life. Then their compassion is there. For some, it is inherent in them. Have come from their parents and grandparents. But I feel it may appear they are not doing. Somewhere the meditative state is happening to them naturally. But today you can practice that. You can bring it up in yourself. In a hustle and bustle of the cities, you need meditation much more than in a remote village there where they don't have much to do.
Gurudev, have you seen in the last 2-3 years a number of people becoming more spiritual has increased?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I feel every human being on the planet is spiritual. Sometimes they know, sometimes they don't know. But sooner or later they see, we are made up of both matter and spirit, right? Our body is carbohydrate, amino acid, protein, all that. Our spirit is made up of happiness, joy, compassion, love, integrity, honesty, all these values. And spirituality is that which brings these qualities in you up, make you blossom in
I
this.
have a question. I'm Indian, but I'm also part of Greens in Germany, so we empower. And we are actually introducing in Germany, all the kindergarten school will have self-sustained economy, like they will have their own electricity, the solar panels and everything. They will try to create their own kitchen garden. And then the lady who actually introduced this, and they asked, how do you know this will work? And then she gave example of case study of Indian Gurukul system. So Germany, we are actually adopting. Do you think? And that's also very important because Germany is like, they don't know like how chicken is made, how food is made. They get in package. They have no connection. So they also plan to see how chicken really looks like. So and how millets are made and everything. So they learn actually from our instant culture. Do you think we can also do in India something like this? Like all the kindergarten and primary school will have solar panels or small kind of gurukul
Yeah,
system?
you can come and visit our Gurukul. We have uh, recycled things. We have, green, from the kitchen waste, we make gas, and from that the cooking happens. So you peel, the banana peels are put for the gas, and then the banana is being cooked on the other side.
No, it's like
So,
policy for whole India. I mean, that's my wish. Like,
yeah.
For that, I think you have to ask the Niti Ayog about the policy, not the Gurudev.
To a large extent, it is being introduced. If you look at the school curriculum today, a lot of these elements have been integrated. And Niti Aayog runs the Atal Innovation Mission. So you have these tinkering labs in schools, so that they bring in the renewable energy, technology, everything you said is So it's modernized, as Gurudev said, we've got to live with the times. We've got to sort of take the key elements of our living traditions and cultures, but we have to think ahead as well. So, and so it's a combination of sort of ancient, current, and modern. And yeah, and that's being scaled up.
Thanks, wonderful. Good to know.
Guruji, how-
Myself, Vimal Govind, I'm from Kerala. We are a startup company called Gen Robotics. We started in sanitation to help people not to do manual stuff. But now we ended into health. But in health, we are facing a moral issue. Being a profitable, profit-oriented company, focusing on profit and also doing the task of helping the system. That is a kind of moral issue. In this specific aspect, can you just give us some guidance?
Tricky one.
Well, you see, without studying any topic in depth, I don't comment on that. So I can't give you some comment which you can use it in some way, and then it can become a very different thing. So, but I would say, if you have a moral goal, you should stick to that. You will have challenges. There will be many allurement to distract you from your main goal. But I would say, if it's me, I would say I would stick to the goals as far as possible till the last straw. Yeah.
Guruji, how do you define spirituality to a family person?
I just defined.
Sorry.
Thank you very much to all the people who have engaged so nicely. It did not become a monologue. It was truly a dialogue and truly interactive session. Thank you very much. You personify yourself, the lifestyle for environment, and there could not be a better person than you. And we have the person who's responsible for implementing life. So one who is having a vision, one who is having the action. So what a better combination than this? And thank you very much for joining this conversation.